All right, everyone. Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, whenever it is you tune in. Hope all is going well. I know what you're thinking. Goodness gracious, that is long hair, and I agree. Um, it's been a minute since you've seen either of us. Oh, you've probably seen Trey first, but for those that haven't seen me in a little bit, then yeah,
About a month and a half.
yeah. I was checking back at the old banners that I had to create, and it was like this was before Desmond Ritter started. Like, oh gee.
It was? Oh yeah, that was the last 4 weeks. Yeah, about a month and a half ago.
Right. So, how's it going for everyone that's tuning in right now? And then let me know like where you're tuning in from because I have this on my channel, but I also have this on the Georgia Sports Nation channels. So you might be catching this there first. You might not, but try to expand it and let everyone know that yeah, we're still alive. Just had a bunch of internet issues on my side, and that's caused me to like completely stunt my entire means of production on here. So couldn't hop on any streams unless if it caused a bunch of lagging problems. Couldn't have internet for like a good portion because of the storms and stuff and all the power outages that it caused and whatnot. So we had to get some new modems. Had to get all the who had to wait for everyone to try to reconnect everything over here. So bit of a hassle there, but Atlanta itself has also been dealing with some other problems too, right? Like, I heard about the hurricane a while back.
Yeah, we had a pop up tornado watch. Like it was that. I think that was last week or the week before last. It was like sunny all week, or sunny the day, like dumb sunny day before. It was raining a little bit in the morning, but it wasn't hard. And then like as soon as 3 o'clock hit, they were talking about tornado warnings. It literally just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's going Ghost Peppers. Yeah, everything's so far so good. I just need to. I either need to focus on getting my haircut or just rock it with it forever. There's only two extremes I can go about with this.
Couple
Um,
sides.
well, yeah. Well, what happened was is that I was trying to clean off the hair from like the clip, the little plastic clip that goes over the razor. The side of it snapped off,
Oh,
and I went try to go back to the website where I got the actual razor from. They don't sell it as the plastic guards, and I don't know what the heck what I can do from here. I probably have to get a whole new razor, and I ain't got money for that. So, how's it going, Eric? Good to see you guys joining us. All right, so now that we got some people here, story of the day. All right, our ideal off season. Now, when it comes to our ideal off season, I still personally have to think about it. This is a bit of a spur of the moment stream, but Trey has uh, done some digging on it, so it's
yeah.
good to start off with that. Got some more people flooding in here. Got Nathan Floyd. How's it going? Got Trey Hill. Okay, it's a new name. I think
Was he here the last live we did? I
I
I think he may
it
have.
seems familiar.
Yeah, because I
It
know he's
just
been on mics. I know he's been on mics the past couple of lives.
okay. So he says, "I like this new coach. I mean, look at his point, or look at this point. He know NFC South, and look how his defense did against them. So I think this is a good pickup. I need a D line coach where we need help. So yeah, good coach. It's look anytime that we have someone from the Aints over to here, that
It's a little
means that they don't
suspicious.
have them anymore.
That true. And the way
So
I watched the Saints live video yesterday, the little Saints chat sport thing. Uh, they were mad to say the least. Because reportedly he was supposed to be their new defensive coordinator,
yeah, he
and he
was the
was
co-defensive coordinator for the
yeah.
all of last year.
Yeah, and supposedly he was. Um, well, we all know he was responsible for the D line and how that worked, but he was supposed to be a little bit more involved this year. And then it's reported that we could be stealing their other defensive coordinator because he wants to be a secondary coach with him, Ed, and Ed. How do you say his last name? Ed, the LSU coach former LSU coach.
Oh, like Orgeron or
And
something?
yeah, him. He reportedly could be coming here to be the D-line coach. So hey, I ain't mad at it. Of course, we'll be talking about that later in the live because we have some things to talk about. But yeah, like I said, I'll get more into detail. Well, we'll get more into detail with that one when it comes around.
Yeah. Floyd Donnelly, how's it going? Talk about Nate Landman. Yeah. RC Plane Builder, how's it going? Said like the new sign and very strict minded. I gotta focus on some of his more interviews that he's made in the past. Let's get into it. So Trey, what do you want to start off with this? Because I know that we just got with our big signing, right? As far
Yeah.
as kind of filling up that coaching slot. There's been some other firings as well, but we'll get into that. So I'll let you kind of take control of this.
So, I have been writing this the past 2 days. This is all in my notebook that I've been using. So, of course, we all know with the 18 future contracts that we signed in early January, after really the first week after the Bucks game, we signed about 18 players. Now, most of these guys, like 14 or 13 of them, are actually from our practice squad, like that were on the roster the entire year last year, and then like 4 or 5 new guys. So that
I
took
think of the
away.
new guys, my favorite one is Clint Rakovich because he was the fullback out of Northern Illinois that I was talking about.
I think did I watch some of his highlights or film. I know I watched something on him. I didn't watch every like highlights on all of the practice squad players, but I watched some on the majority that could come in here and be a death piece or something.
Yeah.
So where was I? Oh yeah. So that took about 18 million dollars worth for us. So we went from around that 74 range to now we're at 56. So, well, of course, you always want to have depth. We knew we weren't gonna like me and Noah said, we were never gonna have 80 million literally going into free agency. That was never gonna happen. We told y'all this from the beginning. But so we're gonna start it off with the obvious. Uh, there is no way that we do not cut Marcus Mariota. If we don't, I'm gonna think something's wrong with Terry or he held him at gunpoint or something. It was like, no, I'm not leaving. But yeah, so we cut Marcus Mariota. I think that's the first cut of the season. We sell 12 million off of that, so we go to 68. Surprise, not really surprising, but I think what the conclusion is coming. I think we cut Casey Hayward. Now it's not like he was bad. The weeks he played, he was okay. He had a couple big, gainers, especially those first 2 weeks. But I don't know. It's like 33. You just had a season-ending shoulder injury, and you didn't really look.
I think he said that he had a tweet where he's like, "Hey, I'm looking forward to coming back."
Oh no! I mean, I heard that if he got hurt a month earlier, that he would have been able to come back around that week 16 through 18 range. But it's just still, it's like it saves $5 million. It's not the biggest amount of money. It's like it's just $5 million. But at the end of the day, I feel like we can get better in the draft at corner or in free agency. There's a lot of free agents, corners in the draft. In the free agency, I think we could sign.
All right.
So of course we cut Casey. We saved $5 million. So now going into free agency, we're at 73.58 million. So now with the resigns. Now there is a couple of resigns. Of course, there's going to be a surprise here. There's not going to be a guy here that y'all are expecting. So started off, we have re-signing Lorenzo Carter. There's no way we let him leave out. There's no way. I can't deal with having Lorenzo Carter leave, especially now with Ryan coming in and me. Am I thinking that maybe he can unlock some potential that's still there? Because I think Lorenzo Carter really could have had like 9 sacks last year if it wasn't for some holding calls and him just barely missing them. But yeah, we signed him to about a 2-year, $8 million deal. Sound good? $4 million for Lorenzo.
He might want a little bit more because he was like one of our biggest defensive playmakers somehow.
True, and did have 2 touchdowns. But I'm not going. If we do, I'm not going above $6 million. If that's after that, he can go. I'm sorry. Then we have Isaiah Oliver. I'm saying a 2-year, $6 million deal. Um, Most slot corners don't really get paid the bank, and especially him only playing like half of the season. And I mean, he kind of caught fire in those last 4 to 5 weeks. But of course, you know, with every ACL injury, players come back a little rusty. They have to get back to the movement of the game. So he didn't do like terribly, like Cornell Armstrong or Fabian Moreau terribly, but he did okay, especially those last 4 to 5 weeks. I actually liked what he did. Um, Now here's the big gun right here, Kalen McGarry. I know what you're all thinking. We have to resign him. Uh, Now this deal may sound big because it's a 4-year, $50 million deal, but he's only getting paid 15.2 million per year. I mean 14.5 per year. So not the biggest. We could franchise tag him, but that would cost 4 million more, and it's like he'd have to sign it, so it wouldn't like he could literally not sign it till week 1, or he could go sign to another team. So, uh, no on that one. Just saying, lock him up. You don't really like when you get a good offensive lineman. You don't really want them to walk out the door unless you have a backup plan that you know is either going to be half as good or better than what you already had.
Or at the
And
very least, like a younger option.
yeah, or a
Yeah.
younger option. And we do not have that on the team. And there's not really, I mean, you have Mike McGlinchey, but he's literally just a year younger, and he's not better, in my opinion. And the draft is more of a left tackle, like that left side in the center position, and the guards. I'll give him the guards, but like, I don't really see any right tackles that would be like immediately better or the same as
Yeah,
Caleb
and
McGarry
even
was.
though you mentioned Mike McGlinchey, I just keep thinking of that whole image of him just like
Oh, Micah
completely
Parsons.
sideways.
That was
Oh
terrible.
gosh.
That was terrible. I haven't seen someone do that to a offensive lineman since Aaron Donald picked Zach Martin up with one hand and threw him out of the way. But I mean, Micah Parsons is only like he's like 6'3", 260. I don't understand. I mean, unless most of his strength is in his arms, or I'm guessing most of his strength is in his arms. If he can pick up a 6'5", 300-pound offensive lineman and toss him like he's a child, but uh, yeah. So next we have Bradley the Goat Pinion, aka Super Leg, aka our leader, other than Young Kweku, on special teams. Now, most punters, of course, don't really get paid that much. You're never really going to break the bank for a uh, punter. But I said 2-year, 5 million, 2.5 per year. He was getting paid like 2 million last year, I think, or was it? No, hold on. It was what was it? 1 year. What was it? It was like 1 year 3 million or 1 year 4 million.
Because there wasn't no vet minimum, right?
Yeah. It wasn't the vet minimum. No, I think it was like 1 year 3 or 1 year 4, if I can remember right. Because he was like a later, like
When you're
right before free
3
agency
seems
started.
right.
Yeah, I think it was like 1 year 3.5, or somebody can tell me. Uh, oh no, I know it was somewhere around that 3 to 4 million range. But
All
yeah,
right.
2.5 per year, 2 year 5 million doesn't sound too bad, especially when he was a top 10, top 5 punter, arguably in the league. And really, when you can flip field position like that, it helps you very much on defense, and I like that. As long as you don't let up an 80 or 90-yard drive, that sounds a lot better. Next we have the actual unicorn, Michael Pruitt. My Kyle Pitts and the unicorn is Michael Pruitt. I got him for 2 year, $4 million, 2 million per year. You kind of lock up that tight end position. Um, and
Oh
maybe
man.
I mean, of course you still have John Fitzpatrick. Of course you still have Parker Hesse. But I think Parker Hesse is going to go to that fullback position because I think we cut Keith Smith. I'm not going to lie. I forgot to put that on here. But I think we cut Keith Smith, and I think that saves like $4 million. It's not it's or 3 million.
Oof.
And I know he's on a 3-year $12 million deal right now. And in my opinion, when every time Parker Hesse lined up back there, he blocked better than Keith Smith. He played a lot more than Keith Smith. And he's a little bit better in the passing game too. He isn't the most athletic, but he's a sure-handed guy, and I'll take that. Uh,
And then, like I said, we also have Clint Ratkovich as
yeah,
a future.
that too. Uh, Abdullah Anderson, 1 year, 2 million. Doesn't sound too bad. He was a good rotational piece. I think if we give him a little bit, I think if we let him get with Ryan, it's a little bit better. As far as his pass rush, he was a good run defender last year. I think that when he had to start, that was a problem because as soon as Saquon Graham went down, it kind of seemed like his play declined a little bit. But I think if you sign a couple more D tackles and when you're getting TQ back, I think him being a kind of that third or fourth guy doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah,
And
as long as he's the floor, that's an
yeah,
amazing floor.
yeah, him as a starter, no.
Mm.
Him as a backup or reserve, I'll take it all day,
Yeah, he
all day.
he keeps his strength that way.
Yeah.
Got the therapist in the chat. What's
What's
going on?
going
Let
on,
you know.
man? And then the last resign is Elijah Wilkinson, 1 year, 3 million. If he doesn't start, I mean, he was. If we're being honest, he was pretty good last year. It was just that knee injury that was nagging him all year, and it kind of messed us up because we went from Hennessy to Gassett to him, and then it
Chuma.
was Chuma. And it was just like we need you. We know you're good. We've been doing good all year. It's
But
just you're
like you pair that up with whatever was going on at center all year, and it just didn't make for a good cohesive unit there.
yeah. It was a lot of. I mean, other than the run game, it was a lot of chaotic stuff on that O line. They did better in the passing in pass pro later in the season, but it was just like, man, like if he was there all 17 games, I think we could have done better. Um, I'm not saying he was the make or break to a playoff run or anything, but I'm just saying maybe some games you kind of be like, dang, we needed him, you know. But yeah, so surprisingly, um, and you can blame Mike for this because I watched his live earlier, the one he had yesterday after he signed Ryan, and I kind of thought about it when he said we may not re-sign Rashawn Evans, and I'm like, okay, Rashawn Evans, of course, is a downhill tackle linebacker. Like that's if he doesn't do anything else, he's gonna make sure he tackles.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's kind of like, okay, so of course we know he's terrible in pass coverage. He's not the best.
Especially 60 yards away from the line of
Yeah,
scrimmage. But
especially. Please don't remind me of that. I had a heart attack watching that. I was with my mom and everything, and I swear I just dropped my phone and was about to cry. But yeah, I don't see it with Ryan. Is it Nelson or Nielsen?
I think Nielsen.
Nielsen. So with Ryan, I don't know. It's kind of like, of course, with the Mario Davies, he's not the best pass coverage guy, but he can do it. We know he's serviceable at it. Rashawn Evans, he's in the bottom of the pit when it comes to pass pro. Now, run tech. I mean, running and all of that.
Okay,
Run
let me
defense.
ask you this question real quick. Pass coverage alone. Rashawn Evans or Michael Walker?
Michael Walker.
Trey Anderson or Michael Walker?
Michael Walker. Surprisingly, how bad Michael Walker was last year, at least we can say he was good in pass pro.
Yeah, I guess it's like the only reason as to why we kept
He
him. And
stays.
it
Yeah.
was it's crazy because if we try to move him, and I know that Dean Pease was trying his absolute hardest to try to use him, right? But even in the last game of the season, like he said, like in his interview, he was like, "All right, we're creating different packages still. We're making some different plays. We're trying to switch things up even at the end of the season." Guess how many snaps Michael Walker had?
Like 6.
Yeah, it was 5.
Oh, damn.
Like I don't know, I don't know what they're gonna decide to do with him, but it almost seems like Dean Pease just gave up.
I mean, it's like, okay, so of course I would be like, okay, well, he's trying to get Troy Anderson to learn, but Troy Anderson's been starting since week 6. We're in week 18. There's no way you're still trying to get him to learn. I think he's learned good enough. With Rashawn Evans, I'm guessing it was just who's the better player. I mean, of course, you want to go out with a bang. Of course, if you know you're retiring, you want to go out with a bang. So you're going to put your best 11 out there. But it's like, dang, like, okay, maybe if you put him at like how he was that 2021 season when he was purely just a pass rusher, or he'll fake a pass rush and drop in coverage sometimes. Yeah, I'll take that. I will absolutely take that. But for the love of God, please don't never put him in middle linebacker again. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Especially when it's like it was
I
him
despise it.
and a few other people that were just responsible for us being like one of the worst at missing tackles.
Him and Jalen Hawkins are terrible at tackling.
Like,
Jalen Hawkins is physical, but I swear it's like, why are you jumping off your feet and a dude is like right in front of you? Just run up, make the tackle. Why are you jumping off of your feet for that? But yeah, if Michael Walker, now I think someone asked us in the Discord yesterday. They said if Michael Walker bulks up a tad bit, I think it was in Landon Nation. They said if he bulks up a tad bit and gets better and at his tackling, do you keep him? And I said, yeah. If you put him at that will spot and just let him blitz or be primarily a pass rusher, then yeah, I'll take it. But as long as you don't put him when he has to hit his read drops and all of that, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
now here's the other problem too with him, right? And this is Ripcliffe, by the way. Um, it's like he puts himself out of position.
Oh, he did that
Like
all year last year.
even when like you try to put him as a defense coordinator in the right spot, it sometimes doesn't even matter because he will start making movements in order to act as a disguise or as a sort of bluff, and then he will just like
Screw
sit
himself
there
up.
and hover over around like the defensive lineman sometimes. And it's like, why are you there, dude? Like I've never seen any linebacker ever try to bluff by like having his hands on the back of the defensive lineman, and then you just immediately get blown up on the run play because you knew it was a run play. So why are you trying to make it seem like, oh, you're intimidating? I don't know, but
I'm not gonna lie. He had a lot of bad games last year, but that second Panthers game was by far his worst. I've never seen a linebacker literally just. It was like he was just blitzing every play. Every single run play, it was like he just blitzed and ran into a. He literally ran into a blocker every play and got strapped. I don't know if
here's
he
my
just kind of
comparison.
like. Uh,
Here's my comparison because I'm actually just thinking about this. If you ever played the early 2000s or kind of mid 2000s Maddens, and you were like the superstar, which means that you got like the point of view right behind the player. And if you ever chose a defensive person, because I've done this before, I've tried to choose like a linebacker, and then try to play out a season that like that. But like you never get used to the camera.
yeah,
That is what Michael Walker looked like. It looked like he never
got
knew
used to.
where he was, or he
Yeah,
never got used to what he was seeing.
I mean he made some good plays here and there, but it's like, dude, like what are you doing? Like, bro, you can't. I mean, you're decent in pass pro, but other than that, like, you can't tackle. You get juked out your socks or ran over nearly every play. I can't get you to get a shed a tackle. I mean, shed a block, and you can't tackle in the backfield. What is your purpose?
Pass
I don't.
coverage, remember?
Yeah, just pass coverage. Like, and now I kind of regret not re-signing Rashawn Evans because I don't want to change it because I still have to go through my free agent signings. I don't
Sure.
know. I think the only reason we would bring Rashawn Evans back is to just make sure we have a sure tackler on the team. Because Trey Anderson's a sure tackler, but like Mike said a couple weeks ago, and I thought I didn't know what he was talking about, but after I watched Trey Anderson this year, I'm like he does arm tackle a lot. Like he gets lucky sometimes with some of these arm tackles that he makes. Now, of course, he's a physical guy, so he'll come up and make most of the time he'll hit a boom, but sometimes those little arm tackles that he tries to do on running backs and help comes just right when he does it. And he's like, okay, I just need you to stop doing that. If you can stop doing that and get better at pass pro, you'll be our number one line. You'll be a great linebacker because he's already smart. He's already pretty athletic and sound. He just needs to get better at pass pro and to stop arm tackling so much. And the blitzing part, I think that'll improve with Brian. So now, after all of our re-signings, we now have 48.58 million. going into free agency.
Now, as I'm listening to you, there's two names that wasn't mentioned yet, right? And I think that these are like the biggest names in terms of, all right, well, what do we do if this person's coming out, right?
Oh, I
AJ
know what
Terrell
you're
and Chris
talking about.
Lindstrom.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just I expect Chris Lindstrom's this year. The only reason I didn't write it down because he's so good. I don't know what type of deal to give him because he could really be either the second or first highest paid guard in the league, and the highest paid guard in the league right now is like at 19.4 or 20 million right now.
Yeah, it's Quentin Nelson. I think he's approaching 20 mil.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what to give him because we know he's better than Quentin Nelson. We know that, but it's like
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Like he
I
can't
mean,
get tackle money,
yeah,
but
yeah, no,
at this point, there's almost no difference.
pretty much. I mean, I think the highest
Unless
paid
if you're a
tackle.
right tackle, then there's a difference, right?
Oh yeah,
But like Trent Williams is up here at like 23.1 or something because he tried to beat like David Bakhtiari by like a little
a point,
penny and a
like
thousand something.
literally like 100,000, literally, basically. Because I think Bakhtiari is getting paid like 22.5, so he literally only outbid him by like $700,000.
Yeah. So now you got guards approaching this kind of territory. So something's got to give here.
Yeah, that's like that's what I'm saying. Is like, dude, like, how do you do that? Because he's not. He's the best guard in the NFL, but he's not better than Trent Williams. Trent Williams is literally the best offensive lineman in football, and Bakhtiari is kind of in that top 5. So you can't say like, okay, I'm gonna give him more money than Trent Williams, but I can't give him less than Quentin Nelson. So you're kind of strapped at that.
It's a small window, but even the floor is kind of getting expensive.
But hey,
Now this is true, Michael. Like the cap will go up.
oh yeah, I think it
But that
goes
doesn't
up.
mean that that doesn't mean that everyone else is going to immediately get cheaper. I think if you're a player, you kind of see that as an opportunity to ask for more.
That's what Lamar is doing right now. As soon as he saw Deshaun and Kyler get 30 million or 40 million 40 million per year, and neither one of them were as good as him. Yeah, you kind of get a little ticked off, I mean, we're just saying.
Yeah, so it's like
Can't really do that. So, now also I didn't resign OZ or Demir Bird, but there's a reason to that. There is a reason to that. It's also on the FA signings and in the mock draft we're about to do in a minute. So, like I said, we have 48.58 million going into free agency. So the star signing, we're gonna sign one of these two players. There's no doubt in my mind that Terry's not gonna at least try to sign one of these. Deron Payne or Jesse Bates. Surprisingly, don't be mad at me, but surprisingly, I went Jesse Bates. It's just the like, okay, now I think the secondary is a lot closer to being a star-studded place. I mean, not place, but unit than the front seven. Because I still think the front seven needs to grow a bit more. I mean, it's nearly as talented as it is in the back end, but I think it just needs to grow a little bit more as a unit in itself. But Richie Grant, AJ, you add Jesse Bates to that, Jalen Hawkins, and of course in my mock draft y'all see. But those three right there is just like, those four right there already sounds like pretty good. And you can put Jalen in the box or Richie in the box, one of those. I don't really care. They're both versatile enough to do it. They did it a lot last year. Literally switched out nearly every play just to do it, unless we were playing too high. But yeah, I don't know. It just sounds pretty good to me. But Jesse, 4-year 58, getting paid about 14.8 million per year, and he would be the second or first highest paid safety in the league. Because Marcus Williams is making 14 million right now.
Goodness gracious.
I forgot Marcus Williams was even on the Ravens when we played them until I had to search it up like an hour ago. I was like, oh, he's still on the Ravens. But yeah. So next signing, David Onyemata, 2-year, $5 million deal. This one's kind of a no-brainer. I don't think there's any way that we don't sign him. All of the the things are clicking together right now. So like, yeah, there's like,
Now there's rumors of Marcus Davenport
yeah,
trying to join
I
too.
also signed him to a 1 year, $2.5 million deal, like a little prove it deal.
Okay, so now, right, we're thinking about okay, you've re-signed Lorenzo. We have Arnold Ebiketie. We have D'Angelo Malone. We have Ade Ogundeji, and now we're signing
Marcus,
um, Marcus Davenport.
I think, and this is a hot take. I think Ade gets cut at like one of those like that 53-man roster cut sound, or we just
Ooh.
find like we kind of like I don't know. It's like he's okay on special teams. He made a couple plays here and there throughout the season. Now, of course, you never give up on a player after 2 seasons, but it's just like uh, it seems better. Like there's better talent in the draft and in free agency in Ade right now. And he kind of, I was kind of mad at D and Peace for this last year, him starting Ade over Arnold. But that's kind of like how he does. You know, he starts his veterans or his more seasoned guys before he puts in rookies. So I understood it, but I don't know. It's just even when he started and got the playing time, he really never did anything. He was nearly Stephen Means, just celebrating other people's sacks, other than the one sack he got all year. Oh yeah,
Man, I mean, like it's crazy how it's like there was a time where Ade was the most
hyped up
like
guy.
well no, not it wasn't hyped up, but it was just like he was the
The
longest
breakout.
lasting person in the room.
Yeah,
Like
he was
right
my breakout thing for
even
this
right
year.
after we signed Zoe, right? Like there was there was no one else that lasted like over a year or whatever because we cut everyone else or and then everyone else we had to draft. So it's like, man, now
Mhm.
even oldest guy to now is getting cut. And it's like I can't understand that, but you know, it's kind of like with Rip is playing here. It's like he's got his own strengths too, right? Like he can set the edge pretty well, and yeah, like you said, setting the edge stuff and runs. It's like he's not necessarily a pass rush guy, but when all you have are kind of the speedy pass rush types that is Malone, Ebiketie, and then
So
whatever, yeah, Zoe, and now Davenport. It's like you're gonna need someone else to kind of act as that in betweener or act as the other strength. That way, you're not gonna have your entire room flooded with a bunch of people. It's like, yeah,
like manly
like
pass rushers.
right. And so they're kind of all one trick pony where it's like, all right, I can figure this guy out, I can figure this guy out. And none of them are going to be as good as the run or at stopping the run as Ade. Like I that's kind of my take on it, and I can tell that Rip agrees. Um I because
Oh
he's still
no.
on his rookie deal too, right?
Yeah, he's in his third year. He be going into his third year this year.
Okay. And I don't know. Like when it comes down to either having to re-Saints, you think about the raw like what you can get in the draft too. Because I know that Nielsen wants his own coaching staff. He wants a lot of control. And I also saw another rumor about hey, like we weren't going to get Steve Wilkes because he runs a different scheme, and that would necessitate a lot of roster changes that we just wouldn't be prepared for. So I think that what that could indicate is that Nielsen wants to try to make as much of this actual roster that we have work.
I mean, I kind of expected that because you don't really, especially because I think the Steve Wilkes on a four. I think he runs a 4-3 over, and right now I think we really only have like two players on that D line that's ready for that, and that's Grady and TQ because they're literally like they can run both. But guys like Arnold and D'Angelo and Abdullah and all those guys, they just aren't
Yeah,
the
we're especially with Arnold, like
forces.
we're almost having the same Vic Beasley problem,
Yeah,
where it's like he's almost playing out of position.
and I would hate that. I literally hate that because I think he has more potential than Vic. If I'm being honest, it's
Yeah,
just he bigger guy. I'd say about the same motor. I'd probably get a motor thing to Vic, but I don't know. It seems like he has more potential, and I hate for us to ruin another
yeah.
guy
Ibikaty's
like
got more
that.
paths to the quarterback.
Yeah, I've never seen a rookie use so many moves in my life. Hopefully, we good thing we didn't do that though. Well, like I said, we'll get to that Ryan thing in a minute. So last couple of signings, uh, Mecole Harmon. This is kind of like that guy that you need to blow the doors off the defense. I think he'd be kind of like a gadget guy. You can use him in the slot. You can use him downfield, and surprisingly, we love running screens last year. He's a great screen guy, especially if he gets the right blocks. He can turn a 20 into a 40, 40 into a touchdown. So, um, I put him on a 3-year, $32 million deal, 10.6 million. I kind of only did that because if Russell Gage is getting 10 million, there's no way Matt Cole doesn't get at least 10, if not even more. I was
Yeah.
surprised when Russell got 10 million per year. That was surprising to me. But like I said, there's just no way Matt Cole goes under that or at the same. I think it's around that 10 to 12 million range. Anything more than that, you're overpaying for Matt Cole. Uh, Last two signings. Now this is I wasn't thinking about this until really today. This is more off of the rumors that we've heard the last 2 days. But Pat Peterson, now I
Mm.
only put him on a 1-year, $2 million deal, so he's not getting the
I,
bag.
I don't know if he will agree to that.
He better or he. The
Well,
thing.
here's the thing, right? It's like I was just seeing Fitzgerald here say it's like, hey, 7 million a year.
I'm not
Now I don't
giving
know if he's
Pat
gonna ask for like a multi-year extension because he is like 30 something,
32. Like I think he's like
33.
32. Yeah, around that age.
Like if you think about Julio, right? Like he's 33 for 34ish.
33 going on 34 next year or next season. I should say.
Now, in order to help make your case, right? It's like statistically, he had his second best year. He had a lot of tackles, second most interceptions in his entire career. Those are good things, right? But I think that the Vikings, as a defensive unit, sometimes they just stack a little bit better than us as a whole. Um,
I think the pass rush helped out a lot with that too, because
that
there
is
was
true.
there was a lot of times where he got beat and the pass rush just got there at the nick of time. Now a lot of people on the from Vikings fans, what I heard, are saying that really if you look at the interceptions that make you think he had a good season, but for what I've heard, he had like a okay to average season. Now, of course, I can't say he sucks because he's literally 32. Like if this was like 26, 25-year-old Patrick Peterson, I'd be like, yeah, sign him to like a 4-year deal, 4-year deal, of course, but he's 32. He's losing that step, of course. He's kind of like a Casey Hayward. Now, I don't expect him to start. Only reason I signed him was to have that veteran presence in there. Because you have it with AJ, but AJ's still on the young side. He's only like 20, I think like 25 years old or 26 years old. So I don't really expect him to be like, to know everything or to have all that great of mind of a veteran. So, if you have him as a backup, um, for veteran presence and you keep them right there. I like that. Just like I said, a veteran presence.
So, just trying to think, right? Because you're cutting Casey,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm starting to see there's some similarities between what Casey can offer and what Patrick Peterson can offer too. I'm just thinking that Casey might be the cheaper option of the two, and I think that he's got more of a desire to play especially when he's already kind of tweeted about it.
True.
And he hasn't been given a true chance yet, like a not a full season chance. So I'd say, hey, if he can really kind of negotiate this thing, because I think isn't he still on the roster for another year?
Yeah, we signed him to like a 2-year 12, so he's gonna pay like
Yeah,
$6 million this year.
I think that's a safer bet. You try to keep Casey because you know, and I'm starting to see some other people. Uh, Hayward has more tread in the tires. Alex is in here saying that he's cheaper, probably, on par at least, right? And you don't want to spend more if you're getting the same kind of
Same
quality.
year. Yeah. Now, I think with Hayward, I don't know. It's like, okay, so if we could like, I think the only reason I really cut Hayward, it was kind of like a cap casualty. Now that's if they want to get younger at that position, because I've heard they want to kind of build up, not like for now and the future at the same time. So I mean, plus I think they know that they're not gonna have Casey for that much longer. But if I like I said, if you can have Casey at a cheaper option, I'll take it. I mean, I don't think he's like terrible, like like he can't really guard anyone like Xavier Rhodes anymore, because Xavier got absolutely cooked those two plays he played. But if you can have him at like three, if you can like renegotiate and have him at like 3 years or four, like 3 million or 4 million, I'll take that. But if
What
he's
was the I'm gonna have to look this up. I want to see if anyone else knows this before I can. What was the contract signing that Stephon Gilmore made with the Colts?
like 1, well,
Was that
he has another year, right? He has another
I
year on the
I
team, right?
I don't remember.
If it wasn't 1 year, I think it was like 2 year, 10 million. I think, because I know he's like 31 right now, 32.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like Stephon Gilmore is probably the best of the three,
Yeah,
and if he signed a cheap deal, like I think that kind of diminishes the value of like this market. It's a very small market, but there is something that's there when it comes to these aging corners. Now, to your point about hey, we want to get younger at the position, then you don't look at Patrick Peterson at all, right? Like,
true.
but I think they want to get smarter at the position.
Yeah,
I do think that they have that veteran experience, and I do think that they have a good resume from either angle, and that does help out a secondary group, especially when they're getting another secondary coach. So having some measure of consistency, having another guy that knows who the players are, that it's like, hey, maybe that can kind of translate a little bit of a coaching strategy for you. It's like there's some other things there too, and I think that it'll help out any younger guys that you want to try to draft or bring in from other free agencies and be like, hey, I may not be like the longest tenure because I'm pretty sure that may be AJ, but it's like, hey, he knows his stuff, right? Like, and I'm here too, just so that there's not so much pressure on the Monday through Saturday sessions on AJ.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of what was it was. Oh no, because we did cut Robert Alfred and Desmond that year, so it was really Isaiah Oliver that was helping him out, and
Yeah,
Isaiah was really never an outside corner to begin with, so he really couldn't help AJ. So of course, AJ is a lot better than all three of those guys combined as an outside, really as a corner in general. But I think you don't want to put all that on him, because remember, he's really the well, of course he's the best, but he's really the most well provides guy out of all the corners that we have on this team, and that's if we do or don't resign Isaiah Oliver. So I kind of want to get another one, and like I said, if it's Pat P or KC or heck even Stephon, if he, like I said, if you want to come here on a cheap deal, I ain't saying no. Like I said, he'd be a nice solid. I mean, I've never seen him play in the slot, of course, but if want to be a rotational corner piece or be a depth guy, because I think that's where all three of these guys are at right now in their career stages. If they're not starting, I mean, of course, Stephon had his ups and downs, but I don't know. I'd have to see. I mean, Pat P had a decent okay. He had an okay year last year. Of course, Casey, like I said, the only thing that's scaring me right now is that shoulder injury. I don't really know what he's gonna look like when he comes back. And Stephon is like 32, so that's the thing too. But I just want some knowledge in there. I don't want it to be a whole bunch of young guys just trying to grasp the thing.
Yeah, just trying
When
to figure it out.
yeah,
So, got breaking news here. I'm getting it from other people too. I think Mike Garafolo was like the biggest source on Twitter. Jerry Gray is going to be our co-defensive coordinator.
did we interview him for like the defensive coordinator spot?
Well, um, so I'm reading out the tweet right now. The Falcons are working on a deal with veteran coach, defensive coach Jerry Gray, to join new coordinator Ryan Nielsen. So as to say, Gray, who has been with the Packers in the past 3 seasons as a defensive backs coach / passing game coordinator, coached with Arthur Smith in Washington back in 2007, 2008.
Yes, sir.
That was the tweet from Mike Garafolo. And it seems that as if we did.
Okay, the more these signings work out, the more I think we're gonna go defense. Well, I think they were always gonna go defense with that first pick, but
Yeah.
now I'm kind of like, after I'll tell you. Well, it's like, do we go corner or edge? Because Nielsen is more of a defensive line guy, but Jerry is more of a secondary guy.
I say you
So,
kind of meet them in the middle and go linebacker.
shoot, I mean, well, is there any linebackers that's worth a top 10 pick this year? This may be the
I don't
first
know
year in a
yet.
while. I mean, of course you have Jack Campbell, but he's more of that like late first, early second type guy. I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of linebackers
So,
this year.
yeah, I'm going to have to adjust this. But, anyways.
But yeah, last signing was Jacoby Brissett, just for a backup position, 1 year, $3 million. Um, just to lit a little fire under Ritter, but not that much. And plus, I don't know who is our backup right now. I think what was number 6 name? I just had his name on my mind too. Um, he was the backup for like the last 4 games.
Oh, Logan Woodside.
Yeah, Logan, the good old Logan. I don't want him as a back. I mean, he'd be okay as a backup, but if you can't get Jacoby to be your backup, plus he's a smarter guy, so he could teach Desmond some things, I wouldn't mind it. But now it is time for the mock draft. I only spent 15 minutes doing this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of had my mind made up on who, if anyone was there that I've watched film on. I've watched film on a lot of guys the last 3 weeks. Yeah. Well, let's just get to mock draft.
All right. Starting off,
First
pick number
pick,
9, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon.
6'2", 200 pounds, lengthy, fast, physical, ball hawk. He's really, I think this corner is filled with corners. This is like literally the most loaded corner draft I've seen ever. Joey, Ringo, Devin Witherspoon, uh, who else? Cam Smith, Christian. All of these guys really should go in the first round. They're probably all are going to go in the first round. 3 of them really could go in the first 15 picks. But I have Christian as my number one. Now you may say, why do we have the 9th pick? Well, I traded back with Carolina, and they gave me their second. Now you may say, why in Jesus' name would you trade back with Carolina? Because they gave us an extra second round pick, and I'll take an extra second round. So, hey, who doesn't? On to the second, our Carolina's pick, basically.
Jahmyr Gibbs, running back out of Alabama.
Now you may be wondering why not taking a running back in the second round and you have Tyler Algier. It's called Thunder and Lightning, people. If I swear to God, if we get Jahmyr Gibbs and Tyler Algier in the same running back room, I will cry, and I'll probably buy both of their jerseys. Jahmyr Gibbs is literally the clone of Al. He literally reminds me of Al Kamara when he was at Tennessee. He runs like him. He catches out the back. He's literally, like I said, a clone of him. If you can have Jahmyr Gibbs be that stretch guy or the gadget, like basically be what Avery Williams was this year, but better, and then have Tyler Algier do what he did last year, this running game goes from 3 to maybe 1. Uh, well, like I said, I would take
Yeah,
that in a
we
heartbeat.
still got Cordero. We still got Caleb Huntley that's going to come back from injury too.
Yeah. What do we
Um,
do with Caleb Only? Because I heard he's a unrestricted free agent or something.
well, I mean, we're in your world at this point, so hypothetically, what do you do?
Mm, I mean, well, you got Cordero, so I kind of selecting Gibbs. My idea for Cordero was kind of to make him that gadget guy, because I don't know if you guys kind of noticed, but he did seem a little bit slower later in the year, just like he did in 2021. But I kind of want to make him like a pure gadget guy. Of course,
Sure.
you're still gonna put him at running back, but I kind of want to
He's still
make
going
him
to be
like
like I think one of our main
yeah,
touchdown
yeah,
hitters.
of course,
Um,
but
I'm looking back at the clips of like some of our best plays, and obviously like that kick return he had against the Bears. I'm like, dude, why is this like a 15-second long clip?
you could tell he just like it's like, dude, like, come on, you got it, come on. Oh, okay, we're okay. He's finally in. Like, thank you, like Jesus.
My goodness,
But
man.
yeah, I can tell he lost a little speed on him. Maybe it's because of the knee injury and him literally coming back during the season. But yeah, I kind of want him to be like a gadget guy. Like, put him in wide receiver, put him in a slot, X, Z in the backfield. Heck, put him at tight end. Let a linebacker guard. Put him at tight end.
Heck, put him
Uh,
at safety.
put him in safety. I don't care. Just do whatever you can to get him the ball while also not having to put too much pressure on him. Because if Cordero went down late in the season after Caleb went down, we literally would have been screwed as far as running back depth. Because I'm not making Avery Williams my running back too. That's just a no. That is a big no. Um,
All right, so now we have I I I'm gonna guess because it's my first time I'm seeing this name. Is it Jervon?
yeah, Javon Dexter.
Jervon Dexter? David
Yeah.
Snackle out of Florida. I think I heard about him at work, like actually like earlier today. If he is who I'm referring to, I want to hear you talk about him and see if my information matches up.
So, big guy. I think it's around like the 6'3" or 6'2" range, if I can remember right. Because I only watched film on this guy for like an hour and a half,
Okay, because
maybe
my
an hour.
coworker said that there was someone a D tackle at Florida that was like 6'6", 302 ish.
Or that, yeah, that may have been it. That may have been
Okay,
it. That may have been
so
it.
all right,
He's more of a if he was like 340, then he'd be a poor man's Jordan Davis, but he's in that 300 range. But he's literally just a run. He's a block heater. Like he just eats up blocks. He protects against a run. Um, he's not a 3 down guy, so that's kind of probably why he slips this far. He's not a 3 down guy. He's kind of like in that first and second down type thing. Um, Now I kind of added him because I feel like he could be a good. I mean, of course, you want your first 2 picks to be, starters, but I feel like he'll be one of those like good, like rotational pieces, kind of like how David Onyemata is. Um, but yeah, I just feel like in this league, you can never really have too many. Yeah, 3'6", 6'6", 312. You can never really have too many D linemen, if we're gonna be honest. We've seen what injuries did to
especially
our
not for
D.
this guy.
Yeah, especially what happened to our D line last year with all the injuries, even before the season started, and the dude from the Bills and Eddie Goldman and all of that, and all of them leaving and getting injured. It literally just messed up the entire depth. So, like I said, you can never really have too many uh D linemen, especially guys like this. I mean, 6'6", 312. I'll take that every day. He's nearly like an Anthony Rush, and I swear, Juice said something about this in a video. I felt like we missed Anthony Rush after he got cut, because he may not have been the most flashiest guy, but he played his role right. All he
Yeah.
needed to do was eat up blocks and be a good run defender, and that's exactly what he was.
So now the next pick 75, Nathaniel Dell, wide receiver out of Houston,
AKA
or
Tank
nickname Tank
Tank
Dell.
Dell.
Now I am Tyndale, but
Yeah. You're better, man. You're better. But Nathaniel Tank Dell. Fun fact: he actually came from last chance U. He was in I forgot what school he went to, but he was in one of the seasons. But
Hmm.
I watched some highlights on this guy last year, and I was like, dang, he is good. And of course, somebody was that you or Atlanta Nation that put in that he was the number one.
That was Atlanta Nation.
Yeah,
But he was
he
like
was.
against single coverage the year that Drake London was drafted.
Yeah,
It's
he
like
was
there was him, there was Jalen Tolbert, and then at the top, but just like a point better was
Tank.
Tank.
But yeah, he's not the biggest. I think he's like 6 feet or like 5'11", 6 feet, but he's like 200 pounds, 210 pounds. Um, he's very elusive. I'll say he is literally like he's he's like Justin Jefferson nearly, except not as good or not as much like uh popularity. He's a good route runner, good eye coordination, like on the deep balls. Now, of course, we really never got to see what he did like a lot because Houston ran a lot of post and screens and flies, so he really never got to run the entire route tree. But a lot of wide receivers in college don't really get to because a lot of systems usually are either immediate routes or deep routes or a little bit mix of both. So um, it was a choice on that, but I feel like he'll be a good number two to um, Drake. Another guy that could really blow up. I mean, not blow up, but open up the offense a lot more as far as like stretching out the field, going deep, or like I said, if you want to, we love Arthur Smith. Love screens. If you want a screen guy, you just want to let him go be an athlete. Just dump it off the tank, and he'll go be a tank, literally.
So Michael here is asking, I wouldn't worry about the punts part because Avery Williams is like the best one, but
Yeah.
kicks.
Oh yeah, he returned. Well, he returned punts. In college, he was one of the best at it. I think he had like 2 or 3 punt return touchdowns last year. But he can return kicks too. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, anytime that you get someone with that potential walking into the same room as a guy with Cordero Patterson, I think
Yeah.
that's good
I
company
think
for
he'll
him to
take it.
be a part of. Next one, tight end, Luke Musgrave. So where does he fit in this entire picture of the tight ends? Because we're almost
Uh,
reaching
this
double
is
digit territory here.
this is kind of me being lazy. I'm like, well, best player available, take a tight end. Arthur Smith loves tight ends. Now I heard of him before. A couple weeks ago, somebody or I was looking at PFF rankings, and they were marking tight ends, and he was like in the top 10. So of course, I mean, now this is saying that Keith Smith gets cut, and something either dramatic happens with Michael or Parker, because Kyle Pitts is going nowhere. We all know that he's not going anywhere. Of course, we don't know what John Fitzpatrick looks like, but if you have a tight end room with Hesse, Pruitt, Fitzpatrick, Luke, and Kyle, of course somebody's gonna have to get cut because you don't want 5 tight ends on the team. But I like that competition right there. And Luke is more of a he's a good blocker, but he's more of a pass. He can catch the ball too. Not the fastest, but he's a sure-handed guy. I'll say he's nearly like an Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I mean, we got him in the fourth round too. So then next up is Tyler Steen, tackle out of Alabama.
I'm not gonna lie, as an Alabama fan, um, only reason I picked him because he's versatile. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's just a versatile beast. Um, he can play tackle. I mean, he's a little inconsistent at it, but he can play tackle, left and right. He's big enough to play guard, so there's that. But if you just need a depth piece, and of course with Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith, I mean, I think we kind of got the memo that they're going to take an offensive lineman somewhere in the draft, whether it's in the first 3 rounds or in the later rounds, those fourth through seven. So kind of just the best offensive lineman available. He is a good run blocker, pass pro. He needs some work, but he is a good run blocker. Of course, I think you work with Arthur Smith. I think you can be a decent offensive lineman. Period.
All right, and now another edge rusher, Isaiah McGuire out of Missouri.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Watching him, this is kind of like another best player available type thing, and you can never have too many pass rushers. He's more on the linear side, I'd say. Just he's more of a he's not like Ogundeji or Arnold Ebiketie, but he's kind of like a mix of both. But he's better at pass. He's better at pass rushing, though. I will say that. Now, like I said, it's more like a best player available pick, so there is no guarantee that he even kind of makes the roster or is a. I mean, he's a good rotational piece. I'll say that. But like I said, it all depends on. I think what we do with Lorenzo is going to determine what we do as far as edge rushers and free agency and in the draft. If we don't resign Lorenzo, I think we end up taking an edge rusher in those first 3 rounds. But I think if we do and we sign an extra guy in there, I feel like you kind of, just take one in those rounds like 4 through 6.
Sure. And then your last pick, like almost 100 picks later, Javon Hicks, safety out of Cincinnati.
Only reason I picked him because he's a practice squad player. He's like, I think he'll be a good special teamer. Yeah, I'll say that. He is physical a little bit. He can. I don't know about the ball hawk thing, but he is physical. But I think he'll be more of that what Jalen Hawkins was those first 3 years. But instead of him starting on the defense, I think he'll just be a regular decent special teamer. Hey, special teams is important, so it's not like he's nothing. I'll say that.
I mean, wasn't Marquise Williams, isn't he the head coach of the East West Run game?
Yeah.
It's the East team, right?
Yeah, and it's Frank Bush for DC and what's our QB
Charles London
name? Yeah, Charles London for the OC.
I feel like Frank Bush being the DC for this game is kind of what's keeping his job here, considering everyone else was wiped out of the board.
Pretty much. I mean, he's a good like inside linebacker coach. So I'll give him that. But yeah, I think that plays a very big role in that. Because I mean, we wouldn't know unless he wasn't the DC for Senior Bowl game. I'm guessing, but
he was also like our backup play caller too.
Yeah, so I mean, God forbid something happens to Ryan and he has to sit out a game or two. You have Frank, so I'm guessing that's.
And now you have Jerry Gray too.
But yeah, if you're bringing in Jerry, then he's going to be the DC. So, oh no, it's just I think with Ryan kind of not having to really make an entire coaching staff because I think if he was going to do that, he would have cleaned house already. If he was literally just going to make his entire defensive coaching staff, I think he would have cleaned house already. But yeah, is Frank Bush the only guy left? Because we got rid of the outside linebacker, secondary,
and D-line.
Oh yeah, he's literally the only one left. Yeah.
So my one concern is that because like we have someone here that is surviving, his position group, I don't think it's been addressed at all in this entire discussion. Like, yeah, we talked about removing Rashaan Evans. We talked about, what can Michael Walker do for us in the development of Troy Anderson, but there was no other name or no other rumor, nothing else that was like brought into the room. And I think that's going to cost us a lot, considering it's a pretty decent chunk of, what we do or what we're going to try to do.
Now that I see this mock draft and I recoup everything I just did in the last 45 minutes, I kind of want to replace Luke and draft a linebacker.
That's a better move.
Yeah.
Tight ends, they make no sense, and I don't care if he's the best player available. Like, I don't need like a fourth different version of Austin Hooper again.
Yeah,
I want another possible starter at linebacker.
I think that was the one move that I could have been like,
because I think that there are some pieces here, but I also think that there are some pieces where it's like, hey, if we get this guy, we basically won the draft. like your first like 4 picks, it's like I can't really argue with that. Especially when you kind of consider about, all right, well, as far as the secondary, well, we're going to bring in, hypothetically, we're going to bring in Jesse Bates. Hypothetically, we could bring in David Onyemata and Marcus Davenport. And then I think you said Deron Payne too, right?
No, it was.
Oh yeah,
Bates.
you were deciding between.
Yeah, deciding between him and Bates.
So, let me get this out of the way. When it comes down to those decisions, right? We're going to talk about like the keeping the strength of our offense in the run game. Keeping that strong, so you bolster up the line. Add another name in the backfield. It's fine. And now we're going to go from it's like Desmond Ridder and Logan Woodside to Desmond Ridder to go Brissett. Okay. And then we're going to have Drake London, Tank Dell, again, hypothetically. And then in the slot would be Cole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which are almost kind of like, they're a bit cut from the same cloth from what I'm hearing.
I think
and then
Cole
you want Cordero.
Yeah.
And then you want Cordero as another gadget guy too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay, so I think Met Cole is like 5'10", 190. If I'm right, don't quote me on that. If somebody could search that up for me, I think it's like 5'10",
I was
190.
trying to think about Nicole Hardman. He is 5'10", 187.
Okay, yeah. So,
I'm just trying to think about what's going on, Prove It. I'm just trying to think about our receivers' abilities to block. Like I remember at the early part of the offseason, where we were trying to get like Auden Tate and whatnot. And it's like these are like these big bodies. Yeah, Brian Edwards, Geronimo Allison. Like we were thinking about these big old bodies here, and then they can provide some extra oomph to the run game, especially when you want to try to break runs outside. And I think about all of that plus our screen games. Like you want some people to block for them. It's like you need some other discipline there, and it's like our wide receiver group is surprisingly thin once we get past OZ, and you cut Damiere Byrd too. I don't know what you did with Kadero Hodge. I don't know what you did with anyone else past that point. But it's like Damiere Byrd, he's also pretty good. It's like he's responsible for some of our best plays this entire season. And I think that it would be a reward to kind of keep him here for one season, especially if we're going to try to bring in some other clones of that mold for possibly more.
I feel like he saved the Panthers game. I'm not going to lie.
He definitely did.
If he doesn't score that touchdown, I don't know how we move the ball down the field.
So, yeah, like if Nate, if Tank can replace OZ, I just want to see like, okay, well, how good's your blocking? Because I know that OZ, he was a very willing blocker. He wasn't the best, but I never saw him like give up.
God bless his heart, because he wasn't the biggest either.
No,
there was a couple plays that a corner kind of babied him, but hey, he gave it his all. I'll give him that. He may not have been the biggest, the strongest, or the best run blocker, but
it was all about that made Arthur say that he's one of my favorite players to coach.
True. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a reason now that I think, why didn't I re-sign him? Because he's like, when you think about it, a lot of coaches, of course, you don't want to just sign a player because he's one of your favorite players to coach. If he's not really giving you anything, you don't want to re-sign him. But he I think he had his best year this year. He had like 564 and like 50 receptions. Now, they kind of dwindled down as soon as Desmond came in because, well, him and Drake.
We just weren't passing the ball.
Yeah, we just weren't. I think he got like 10 or 12 catches in those last 4 weeks.
And when if we were passing the ball, we were passing it to all of our other tight ends. Like, there's a reason like Michael Pruitt has as many receiving touchdowns on the entire season as Drake London.
And more than Kyle Pitts.
Well, I guess that was to be expected.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think he had as many touchdowns as Kyle Pitts before he got injured. Because he had one. Well, no, wait, hold on. So he had one in the 49ers game.
Yeah,
But
that was
KP had
before
one.
Pitts.
Yeah, he had one. But KP had another one that same game.
Yeah,
And he had one in the KP had one in the Panthers game.
but then I
Then
think Pruitt had one in the Redskins
Steelers.
game and the Steelers ones
Yeah,
too,
and the
and
Steelers.
then the very last game of the season too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like we kind of spread him around a little bit. That kind of makes you think. It's like, all right, well,
Hope we
imagine a
do
few
that
of
with
those
KP.
touchdowns were, yeah, if they were for him, it's like we might have another more positive outlook on what Kyle Pitts can do for us outside of just like his regular stuff in between the 20s. So thinking about it, right? Like, because we have Kyle Pitts, we have Drake London, and I think that those are going to be our pillars on our offense, right?
Yeah, our 1-2 basically.
And then Tyler Algier is going to be our future pillar on the backfield.
We're hoping that Desmond can continue what he was doing in the back end.
SMU wide receiver, is that Rice?
Rasheed Rice.
Right, yeah, Rasheed Rice. See, I'm still trying to pay attention to names.
You know, Mike and K Styles was talking about us doing. You remember how we did that? Our top 50 players in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they said they needed us to do that again. Well, not needed, but they were like, "That's up to me and you." I was like, "Yeah, we'll do it for you."
Yeah, I gotta get on this, and I'm glad right now because it seems like so far, out of this entire like minute or hour 12 minutes, that there's been no interruptions with our internet. So that is fantastic news. I wasn't expecting this like good, consistent stream quality. At least like that's from my outlook. I don't know how you guys are like watching us.
I mean,
but from my angle, there wasn't no time where I had to back out and restart and join back in and whatnot. So
I mean, you stopped talking for like 2 seconds twice. But other than that, it's been good.
Yeah, and that I was able to recognize. So I can't remember when. I don't remember what I was saying, but it probably wasn't all that important. Anyways, when it comes down to our thoughts on this, because we got a lot to catch up with.
You want to
Ryan
go first
Nielsen,
on that one?
Now Jerry Gray being our defensive coordinator. We kind of started us off at the very beginning of the stream, but I was getting some more tidbits of information about what he's been able to do, or what he's done for the Aints in the past like couple of years. He was also at what was that college? It was where
Illinois,
wherever Bradley Chubb came from.
Georgia. I mean, not Georgia. NC State.
Yeah, NC State. He was there at the time where it was him, and I think BJ Hill was there too. And like ever since like 2002, like he's had like a long list of defensive line coach and defensive assistant, and now he's like he's been buried deep in defensive stuff for 2 decades. And you know, I'd shared my concerns about not getting the guy to replace Dean Pease in terms of like his experience and what he would bring to the table. I think we have someone else that can match that right now.
Yeah.
The other part of this is what the heck is he going to do with Jerry Gray? Because this is brand new news to us. So I haven't really gotten the chance to think about it. But thankfully for this massive comment that was found here. Okay, I think this is a part of an article here. So I'm just going to read it out loud a little bit. So forgive me if I'm like looking a little bit weird. Originally joined the Packers, this is referring to Jared Gray, on the Packers in January 29, 2020 as a defensive backs coach before being promoted to defensive backs / passing game coordinator on March 1st, 2021. He coached Alexander to a second team All-Pro honors back in 2020. The first Green Bay cornerback to earn that since Charles Woodson did that in 2011.
Jesus.
Alexander was also named to his first career Pro Bowl, making him one of the 3 cornerbacks in franchise history to make the Pro Bowl within his first 3 seasons in the league. The last 2 to do that in Packers history was freaking Herb Adderley in 1963 and Willie Buchanan in 1973.
Who and who?
Herb Adderley, I do know him. He is a Hall of Famer. Willie Buchanan, I don't remember what happened to him, but yeah. Led Rasul Douglas to a career year in 2021. Douglas had 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns, tied for 4th most in a season in team history. Additionally, from weeks 8 through 17, Douglas was tied for number 1 in the NFL with 5 interceptions and led the NFL with 105 yards on interception returns. Jerry Gray has 25 seasons of NFL coaching experience, including 8 seasons as a defensive coordinator from Buffalo back in 2001 through 2005 and Tennessee from 2011 through 2013. In his 23 NFL seasons as a defensive coordinator or a D-backs / secondary coach, he has helped his defenses to top 10 league rankings in scoring defense 10 times, and a total defense 11 times, and in passing defense 12 times. He has worked with defensive backs who have combined for 13 Pro Bowl selections in his 15 seasons coaching the position, with at least one of his players earning Pro Bowl honors in 9 of those seasons. He has served as the defensive backs coach for Minnesota for 6 seasons from 2014 to 2019, helping the Vikings rank in the top 10 in the NFL in scoring defenses for 5 straight seasons. As Buffalo's defensive coordinator, he helped the Bills rank number 2 in the league in overall defense in back-to-back seasons back in 2003 and 2004. This is when they had freaking what was his name? Not Troy Vincent, but there was, because Troy Vincent was an Eagle. It wasn't in the corner. But they had Nate Clements, right? I think that was Nate Clements. As a player, he was a 4-time Pro Bowl selection back in 86 and 89 at cornerback with his time as the Los Angeles Rams. He also played for Houston Oilers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and finished his career with 28 career interceptions. Whew. Quite the mouthful. But that is Jerry Gray, his history. So we have someone that is going to, like I said, they're going to balance out each other's strengths. So we have Ryan Nielsen is spent so much time learning the defensive line. Now we have Jerry Gray, who spent so much time learning about the secondary. Please focus on the linebackers just a little bit. I know that you can kind of mask them relatively.
I think that's ways. What it. Actually, now that you said, I think that's really why they kept Frank Bush, because he's been coaching linebackers for years now. So you don't want a guy that is new to coaching linebackers to be in there, because this is basically going to be a new coaching staff altogether, other than Frank Bush. So, did it in that any tweets that you've seen? Did it say Jerry was going to be our secondary coach too, or just our pure co-defensive coordinator?
It just says DC.
From what I'm guessing, because you could. I'm not saying I want him to do this, but Ryan could be okay, I'll coach the entire defense and the D line, and you get, we split it, you share our days, and you get the secondary. Now I'm pretty sure, unless something else comes out that we're signing a secondary coach, that Jerry is probably going to coach the secondary. That's my guess, but I don't know. It's just I like this move a lot, because it's okay, you have 2 guys on defense, 2 coordinators on defense that are okay, they're pretty good in what they do and what they know. And I think Jerry can help out Ryan with the secondary calls as far as getting guys where they need to be. Because you sometimes have coordinators that come from the front 7 that kind of are, their front 7 is good, but their secondary as far as defense is either terrible or not that good. So I think him pulling in Jerry is kind of a good move, just to kind of keep it balanced. But yeah, like you said, please don't forget about Troy Anderson and the linebackers.
Yeah. By the way, because I just saw this comment from Nathan Floyd saying that they all kind of work together, with the Titans in 2011. By the way, the Titans were 9-7 that year.
Oh, that's a
They had Mike Munchak as their head coach at that time. So I guess they kind of, I can't remember when. Oh, before that in 2010, that was Jeff Fisher's last year there.
oh. Okay.
So that was Mike Munchak's first year as a head coach, right? Jerry Gray was the defensive coordinator at that point. Frank Bush was the linebackers coach. Arthur Smith was the defensive quality control coach. Dave Ragone was the wide receivers coach.
Why does it sound like this entire coaching staff is here, basically?
And in terms of points against, they ranked 8th in the league that year.
Yeah, that's good enough.
So they definitely had a better defense than they did offense.
Well,
Now, on the subject of Dean Pease, because Melly Mills was bringing this up, it makes me wonder if Pease was actually relieved of his duties, but used retiring to cover it up. We literally got rid of all of his staff except Gush. I was actually kind of saying, it's like, dude, can you imagine like trying to be in Dean Pease's shoes this season? Because not only was he, did he mention that he was fighting a cold that lasted from week 2 all the way to like the end of December. So that was basically all of the season.
the entire season.
He was also having to deal with, getting hurt right around the end of the season. So we got that. He's also like 73 years old. So that is going to play into like how long he feels as if he can do this. He was still making different formations, different packages, like he was trying to change it up as much as he could on a week-to-week basis while dealing with all that. And he might have had to carry some of these positional coaches, as well. Because I don't know what is going on. Because I get like giving Nielsen and them the control to want to choose their own coaching staff. But if they become their own coaching staff, it kind of makes you wonder, like, what the heck was everyone else doing?
I mean, the D-line guy, I always wonder what he was doing. That was for sure. Outside linebackers, I mean, Arnold and D'Angelo and other than, I mean, they never really concerned me. So I was like, okay, he's doing a decent job. The secondary one was what concerned me, especially last year. Other than AJ, we had no good secondary guys. And of course, having Isaiah out the entire year didn't help either. But I guess D. Alford and Io and the emergence of Richie. I don't know. I'm guessing Jerry and Ryan are better suited or better, I guess, have better pedigrees than they did. But I don't know. It's just like you said, like what were y'all doing in order for all y'all to get fired other than Bush?
So yeah, kudos to Dean Pease. Like, if we can't say it enough, because like I said, he took this ragtag of a crew and still produced a top 5 defense in the back half of the season.
I don't know how he did it either.
Like, golly, dude. Like, we had 9 or something games where they scored like less than 20 something points.
I mean, if you also remember too, he was missing some key pieces in games too. He had to play with Darren Hall and Rashad Fenton as his top 2 corners for 4 weeks. He missed Casey Hayward the entire season. Jalen Hawkins and Richard Grant showed that they were still young a lot of sometimes throughout the season.
By the way,
no pass rush.
We never had any idea what the heck Vincent Taylor was going to do for us at D tackle, because he got hurt before the season started.
He got hurt before training camp started out. I think he popped his Achilles before training camp.
Yeah, it's like started. There's a reason as to why we had to bring in guys like Abdullah Anderson and Jalen Dalton and stuff.
Jonathan Bullard.
Well, Bullard was last year.
Oh, that was last year? Oh, yeah, that was last year. Oh, yeah, it's because I read a article on him a couple days ago.
But yeah, like the turnaround as far as, because I actually had it on my phone. I was looking at the starting roster, right? When you look at it from week 18 and then what it was in week 1 of this same season, just in terms of like from most to least in terms of the snap counts, right? Number 1 was Richie Grant in week 18. Like, he was the one that had the most snaps, played every snap. Week 1 for the season, who played the most snaps? AJ Terrell. Okay. Next up, this was kind of in place of Casey Hayward for last year, or week 18. Cornell Armstrong played the second most snaps on the team in the last game of the season. Week 1, Michael Walker, second most snaps of the season. Week 18, and third place was Rashaan Evans. And in week 1, third place was Richie Grant. All right, so that's kind of consistent. But it's like there's a couple of other jumps, right? Michael Walker was second most in week 1. He's literally dead last in week 18. So some other names that we have in week 1 here. All right, let's see. Mike Ford, Matt Dickerson, Quentin Bell. We got DeAndre Alford, Dean Marlowe, Eric Harris. And now we just had, Timmy Horn, Matt Dickerson, Jaleel Johnson,
Troy Anderson.
Right, Troy Anderson in place of Michael Walker, or just straight up replaced him.
Now that I think about it, was Troy Anderson even activated that first game? Because if I remember right, Tyler Algier and him was inactive that first game.
I don't remember.
Or and did he just not get any playing time?
Well, even if he was, remember, we had Dion.
Oh, yeah.
It's like we had Dion Jones still.
I forgot he was on the team this entire year. Well, not the entire year, but like the first 5 weeks.
So yeah, there's a big turnaround there just throughout the season, right? And there was other names too that I could have mentioned, like you said, Rashad Fenton, some other names
Darren Hall.
Darren Hall, who was also like dead last. So it's like the people that are on our contract list, like, y'all know we got a guy in Javonte Moffitt.
Oh,
no,
my.
I forgot. Didn't think so.
Okay.
Did y'all know we have a guy named David Anina? I want to say spelled Anenih.
I saw him get signed to the practice squad the week before. That was it. I knew about Javonte Moffitt because I heard he was like I don't know why. They were taking pictures of him. It was like, how if you have the Falcons app, they take pictures of every practice. So I only really remembered him because he was in every gallery. I think it was because of his visor.
Now, some people that are on our free agents list, or that are expecting to be free agents list. Nick Kwiatkowski.
He played week 18?
No, but like, what happened?
I don't think he ever. Well, no, he played, but he only played on special teams, and even that, I think Troy Anderson ended up replacing him there. Because remember the reason. So I think it was either Cordell or Marquise that said this. It was like Nick Kwiatkowski couldn't block a certain dude on the team. That was the reason why he literally got a touchdown, the kick return before, but Nick Kwiatkowski missed the block, so he didn't get it. So they switched it up. They put Nick Kwiatkowski on the outside or something. He didn't really matter because that wasn't where Cordell was going anyway. And I think they put, is it Keith Smith or Michael Pruitt right there? They put somebody right there. And he got the perfect block, and well, we all know what happened. He takes a 102-yard kick to the house.
So, like, again, like, this was our roster, guys. Like, this is who we currently have. Like, we're just having to scrape names at the very bottom of the barrel to find people that are,
decent,
signed to the Falcons.
What else was there?
So it's like, like, he's laid a solid foundation, and the development of guys like Horn, and we can rank on Cornell Armstrong a lot, but yeah, at that Bucks game, he actually played pretty well.
Yeah. You know who I forgot was even on the team because he only played a drive and a half. Damian Williams literally broke his ribs literally like the sixth play of the game, or the sixth play of the year, and never came back. I'm guessing since Algier just popped off immediately, and Caleb Huntley was his 1-2 punch, and Cordell Patterson never really slowed down to the knee injury. There was really no point in bringing Damian back. And then you still had Avery coming in here and there,
Damian
getting his
back, more
yards.
like Damian baby back ribs.
That was cringe,
Continue.
but it was still funny. It was still funny. It was cringe, but it was still funny. Well, actually,
Oh yeah,
before we
speaking
switch
of,
to the
yeah, go ahead.
before we switch to the championship games, because I know we have to hurry up and end this, but I just want to say, whoever, because I know everyone goes to the comments, especially after every Instagram or Twitter post, that Atlanta post. I've never seen so many people look stupid in the things they say. I'm guessing people don't do their homework. They just look for a big name guy and hope that he comes here. Because I swear they acted like we signed, not Raheem Mostert, but when he was here as a DC,
Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris. For some reason, people hated this move because one,
Raheem Mostert's the running back.
Raheem Morris. I think people hated. Well, we know the reasons. One, it wasn't Brian or Vic Fangio or Wilkes. For some reason, as soon as Wilkes' name came into the option, people just didn't. That was their top three. Now, I understand that. Who doesn't want Brian Flores or Vic Fangio or Wilkes? But they all came with a price. Vic Fangio is about to be a DC at Philly or Kent, or San Fran, reportedly, whichever one
Yeah,
basically
and then
opens up for,
reportedly D'Amico Ryan's
is
current
about to
defense
be
coordinator
a
might be for
Texan.
Texan.
Yeah, and then I heard Brian Flores reportedly is probably about to be the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals if they don't get Sean Payton, and then Wilkes is really in a lawsuit right now, and I don't really want that type of energy around the team. Plus, like you said, Noah, that they were literally going to have to rearrange the entire defense just to make this a 4-3 type defense. So, yeah, I think I'll take Ryan.
And Jerry.
And Jerry. Yeah.
It's so weird to say. See, back in my day, we just had one defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Well, you had one everything. There was no assistant head coach. There was no assistant offensive coordinator. It was just head coach, coordinator, position coaches. That's it.
At least, if you're trying to fill up a Madden role. But, yeah, going back to things that are cringe but funny, I was watching a bunch of Cowboys fans react to the end of the game. Oh my gosh, there's all sorts of people. Like, obviously they're gonna try to break their TVs because it's obviously the TV's fault that the Cowboys are bad in the playoffs.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Someone, why are you breaking your TV? And you're gonna have to go buy a new one that's probably more expensive. Like the
you're
first...
gonna have to wait for Black Friday again.
Yeah, true. Like most of these TVs are like $400 at the minimum. Especially if you want like one of these between 40 and 50 inch TVs, yeah, you're gonna be paying big bucks, buddy. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that video.
4K.
I don't know if y'all saw that video Monday, or that he literally just, as soon as whoever they were, I think it was Cedric Wilson who got tackled, he literally just got up, put all force into his fist, and punched the TV. And I'm like, dude, what are you punching the TV for? Okay, I get if you break a cup, you throw your hands in the air, you're throwing stuff around. But bruh, you break the thing that you really do or watch most of the day. What else are you gonna do?
It's like, you might as well key your own car. Like,
yeah,
speaking of which, there was someone that they carried their TV out to the
outside,
driveway. They
got
took
their
their
truck
truck and
and
then just
drove
like,
over it.
yeah, they burnt it out. It's
And
like,
then you seen like the plastic and like every component of a TV literally came out. I didn't even know that a TV had that many parts. I
did,
swear to
did
God.
you see the one clip where someone like kind of threw it off their dresser and then started pulling out a gun?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
That one
why are you
scared me.
shooting at everyone?
That one, like kind of really scared me because the like if there's people in there, I don't. Was there people in there? I don't remember.
Well,
If I mean if I'm a person in there, and someone pulls out a gun after a game, and you can see they're furiously angry, I'm gonna leave, and I
yeah.
might not be friends with you anymore. Because if you're mad over a Cowboys game, I don't want to see what else you're gonna get mad over.
Ooh.
And then people have to. I'm just glad they don't have a something to blame anymore. I mean, it was never really the ref's fault anyway. Last year, of course, we all know the ref has to touch the ball first before any play can happen. But hey, you just got to blame yourself. You put Zeke at center. The last your season is on the line, and instead of pulling out every wide receiver that you had, every weapon that you had, you decided to put your 5 offensive linemen at receiver and put Zeke at center. The Cowboys are
Which,
the Cowboys.
for those that don't know, like why they tried to think that it was a good idea, what they, I'm again, this is all assumptions because what actually happened was just stupid beyond belief. But what they, I guess that what they wanted to set up was a hook and ladder concept. And so they were either going to have their speedy receiver, which was Cavante Turpin, on the inside, and then right behind him, in between the offensive lineman was T.Y. Hilton. And so they were thinking that, hey, if we kind of have Dak throw it in the inside, maybe he can bounce it to the outside, or he can pitch it to Ty, who would then have two blockers in front of him, or he can pitch it on the inside to Zeke, assuming that none of the 49ers players move, because he already had two defensive people that were on him. One of them was already rushing Dak Prescott, so he couldn't even make a good throw, which is why Turpin had to jump in order to try to catch it, which is why none of this even mattered. So
No,
I don't know. It's like over here on the other side of the ball, you had your other offensive lineman and CD Lamb, which I guess was like a decoy because like no one paid attention to Ty that was on the other side. But it's like 10% of the idea was there, but 100% of the execution was not. And that is like that's the play that you're gonna use in order to kind of finish off the season. Like I get that you had 6 seconds left and you had like 76 yards to go for a touchdown to tie it, but really,
that's what you came up with. At least you could have did a screen. At least you'll have blockers in
do
front
a
of you.
do a hook and ladder play like the Vikings did, right? Way back when they had Randall.
Oh
And
yeah,
then this was at before like the end of the half, so they had to go touchdown or broke. Randy Moss caught it, and then as he was getting tackled, chucked it behind to I want to say like Robert Smith or something, and then he took it. Right, like you do that same concept, but just further down the field.
I don't know. Plus, if you were gonna throw it, you literally okay. So when he snapped the ball, right? Okay, so it's 1-2. Zeke, the defender, literally had time to think. Okay, am I gonna rush him or am I gonna stick back? You gave him that long to think. Okay, should I rush or not? By the time he rushed, you throw the slant. By the time you throw the slant, it's 1 second left. Okay, it's not like you were gonna. I mean, of course, you weren't gonna throw a quick out or anything, but still, you took like six. You took the entire clock to throw a slant. You at least like you hike, you throw, and then you go from there. Why are you waiting till he's like, oh, okay, he's at the 10-yard line, throw it? It's not 1st and 10 with like a minute 10 seconds left on the clock. It's the last play of the game, and you waited to throw it. And to be honest, I don't know who I was rooting for that game because I hate Kyle Shanahan. Of course, you all know why I hate Kyle Shanahan, or we all hate Kyle Shanahan. But we all hate the Cowboys too. So whoever lost was going to be a good Sunday either way. I can really care for both, but I don't know. It's just
It is kind of cool to see how there's been a 27-year streak of the Cowboys not even making to the championship game.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, if
That's
you really
sad.
kind of think about it, the 49ers are just the advanced Cowboys
They make it,
because
but
they
then they
can't seem to
blow
get
it.
past the championship either.
They'll either make it like 2019, they'll make it and then they'll blow it, or they make it and then get beaten senseless. So
Yeah, because I don't because I mean we're gonna get into the championship game now. I don't even think it matters who the heck wins on the NFC side. I think that either the Chiefs or Bengals could beat either of them.
that's a definite. I mean, now of course, defensive wise, for whoever the Chiefs or Bengals is going to be hard because I don't trust either of their corners to guard AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, anybody out there. But I will say this: both of their D lines are top 3 in the league. Both of them. Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, though. I keep forgetting the dude in the middle.
The DJ Reader or something.
Yeah, DJ Reed. Those group of guys right there can always force pressure, and then you have, of course, Chris Jones and Carl Loftus and those guys out there. So pressure isn't going to be a problem for them. My problem is, how are you going to guard either one of them? Because Javarius Ward is not guarding AJ Brown or Devontae Smith 1-on-1. Eli Apple is not guarding AJ Brown or Devontae Smith 1-on-1. And if the 49ers make it, well, there's no linebacker on either one of those teams that's guarding Christian or George. And there's no corner that's guarding Brendan or Debo. The only thing that could really hold them back is what made them nearly lose that game last week, and that was the pressure that they were getting.
Yeah, and my only other thing too is that the biggest weakness is who we just talked about, Kyle Shanahan.
Oh yeah, he's never won a game. If he's down before the second half starts this week, or if they make the Super Bowl, it's literally like a 99% chance he loses the game, because in the past 5 years, even in making the Super Bowl, he's never won a game when he was down at halftime.
No, it was fourth quarter.
Yeah, fourth quarter. If he's down going into the fourth quarter, you're probably going to lose that game.
And even if he's up 10, like
you're probably going to lose that game.
So,
because it's like, okay, so you think, man, I've blown a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. I've blown a 10-point lead with 8 minutes left in the Super Bowl. Shoot, I've even blown games in the last 2 years. Maybe.
And the championship game with the Rams.
And the championship. Maybe, just maybe, I should start running the ball when it matters. Like when it's 5 minutes left. And I know I can because, I have one of the best offensive lines in the league. I mean, why would I put my Super Bowl trophy hands into the hands of Brock Purdy and Jimmy G? But screw it, I'll do it anyway. Let's see what happens. And they're gonna end up losing. I'm gonna say this right now. If Philadelphia puts up at least 21 points this week, the 49ers losing that game.
Yeah, and what we were saying is that, like, oh, hey, individually, I was like, well, they don't have the people in order to cover these guys. That don't matter, because if you get to the quarterback, the ball can't be distributed.
Yeah.
Right, and then even on the Eagles side, right, like I was saying, Hurts has been pretty magical, and that's true. But is he Burrow magical? Is he Mahomes magical?
No. I take Mahomes over every quarterback left in this playoff. I mean,
And if I can't take Mahomes, then I'm going to take Joe Burrow.
and if I mean, well, there's only Jalen and Brock left, and I think I'll take Jalen. You know, I don't know if y'all looked at the NFL's Instagram story earlier, but people are actually taking Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts, and it sickened me. Now, of course, we've seen what both of these teams look like without their respective quarterbacks. Um, but I'm pretty sure the Eagles were the same team that only scored 10 points on that Saints defense with Gardner Minshew in there and lost to the Cowboys.
They actually scored that time.
Yeah, they scored that time, but still, Gardner Minshew ended up selling the game in the end. There is no way that I am taking Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts. There's just no way. I can't
Yeah,
do it.
like
I can't do it.
you got to think about the team that they're a part of.
He's
Yeah.
surrounded. If there was a term for all-star team, that's the 49ers, literally. That or their offense. That's literally you can't like you have Pro Bowlers or at least one All-Pro at every position.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to know that the last team that the 49ers have lost to was Kansas City.
Oh yeah. Them two.
And then before that was us. Like,
Now that you think about that, there I don't know. Because people were so I was reading something on Twitter. They were like, man, a rematch of Kansas City and Kyle Shanahan would sell tickets. It would get money. But I'm like, dude, who wouldn't want to see Philadelphia go from being doubted to making the Super Bowl? And I mean, if you want a shootout, that's probably going to be with Philadelphia, whoever is getting in the AFC side.
if you
If you
go
win,
shootout, I think you go Philly versus Cincy.
yeah, that's. I mean, that's kind of my
Because
hope.
there's just something about the Chiefs right now. They like other than Mahomes' injury, they still kind of look vulnerable. Like
That
there's no
defense is
way.
vulnerable. That's
There's
what it
no
is.
way that Jacksonville should have been in that game.
No, they should have won that game. To be honest,
And yet they had multiple chances to win that game.
I don't know. It's just okay. So maybe saying Burrowhead, maybe it may take. I don't see how that would take someone off. I mean, if they were playing at um if they were playing in Cincinnati, I think they have a nickname for the Chiefs if they were 3-0 against Burrow. But I don't know. It's just
Oh my god!
that
I
sec
just
that
thought about
that secondary is garbo. Like I'm sorry that secondary is just garbage.
this tweet that I heard this morning as I was like heading to work. It was the mayor of Cincinnati. He posted a tweet. I don't know if you guys have seen this, where he's like, "Hey, we might need to take a paternity test because we believe that Joe Burrow is the father of Patrick Mahomes."
Oh. Oh.
What do
Well,
you do? Like he literally said Burrowhead Stadium.
I didn't see that. You already took it far enough calling another man's stadium the same quarterback that swept him 3 times. But you just called him his father. You're like
This is the Cincinnati mayor.
the guy that
Where do you go from there?
that can't you I mean unless the president or something to it, but you can't really get any worse than that. And I'm pretty sure Mahomes has seen that. There's no way he hasn't seen that. If I'm Mahomes, there's no way he doesn't go for like 350 and 4 touchdowns this week. You just, I mean, of course you've had like, you have these guys on under like NFL's post saying that's Mahomes' father and everything, but you just had the mayor of Cincinnati say, "Yeah, Joe Burrow is your daddy." You're under him. That's your father.
Yeah, I get that it's a very immature statement, but that's why I love
Yeah.
it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm like, if
It
I'm
is
that,
so out of pocket.
that's like me like playing a school like Heritage, right? And I'm like 0-2 against them going into my senior year. And the principal comes on to be like, yeah, this team is your daddy. I'm gonna be mad, and I'm probably gonna try to beat the living crap out of you. And especially if this is a chance to go to the Super Bowl too. Oh yeah. Oh that's
Oh.
a
Like
oh.
you're doing this against Kansas City, and in case you don't remember, Kansas City will hold grudges.
Oh, they do it all the time. I mean,
Like
there's
against the Raiders, especially. Oh my god!
I mean, there's a reason they've made it to 5 straight AFC championships. It's not just because they're good. I mean, people talk smack about them all year, especially because they're kind of becoming the new Patriots. They're around that they're in the AFC championship a lot. Uh, they Travis Kelsey said something about it when about his podcast about something on his podcast with his brother. And he was like, yeah, he said something about the Raiders game. He was like, yeah, they were talking smack and all of that. And we're just like, yeah, we want to like beat the living crap out of them. And you go on to blow them out 48-9. I mean, the literal first play of the game, it was a forced fumble for a touchdown.
That was right after they kind of cried it on
Yeah.
the midfield logo, and started doing something that. And then before then, they were like kind of driving around the stadium when the buses, and then that's why you see that whole the huddle, right, where they were kind of spinning around. That was mocking them for
Oh,
that.
yo. Well, I didn't know that. I mean, I thought they were just screwing around with him. I mean, because,
Well, I
like,
mean, true, but it's like there's a bit more layers to that.
yeah. I don't know. It's just, I understand. I mean, I'm not the biggest KC fan. I tolerate them because I know they're a good team. I don't hate on great unless it's Tom Brady. Then I hate on greatness. But unless I don't hate on good teams like that because if I know you're good, I know how hard it is to get to a point like that. Especially 5 straight AFC championships, let alone get into one is hard enough. But going to 5 straight, like
Yeah.
you're the king of the AFC at that point. But um, I especially when you're a new grown team, like you're new to this, like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and all those guys, they're new to this. Like they've never been in the playoffs before. I mean, of course, all of those guys combined have only been in the league for like 6 years, 6 or 7 years if they combine their years. But like, I don't know if you can talk to Mahomes like that. I don't know if you can talk to Andy Reid like that or Chris Jones because you're like,
But
dude, like,
guess when the win is most intimidating. Well, like I just answered it. It's when they're wounded.
yeah. I mean,
Especially when they're backed up into a corner too.
yeah.
Uh, we're gonna end the show in a couple minutes because we're approaching 2 hours. But I just want to ask the chat something regarding any NFL rumors, any Atlanta Falcons rumors. What new stuff interests you the most? Because we can kind of go on about this whole
Lamar.
Lamar Jackson saga, and we should have had another stream to kind of talk about that. But it's like I said, like the power outage at the time, it kind of wiped away any idea of like any of that. But it's like I've given my takes on that.
Um, I mean, as far as the Lamar thing, because I don't feel like going in too much on this. I've spent the last 2 weeks arguing about this. I think we all have, especially in Discord, especially on Twitter.
Heck,
Um,
Top Billing freaking hates me
top
now.
top billing. Oh my god! If you knew what this, okay, so top billing said in a comment about Lamar coming to us, he said that Lamar fixes the holes on defense himself. That if Lamar came here, we wouldn't need another edge rusher. We wouldn't need another D tackle, another corner, another safety. Just get Lamar, and we're Super Bowl champions. That is the stupidest comment I've ever heard in my life. I don't
Yeah,
think I've
and
ever heard a worse comment in my life.
how he tried to back up that statement was by saying that, well, you look at the season where the Baltimore had a poor defense and all the clutch throws that Lamar had to make in that season. The season he's referring to is when they went 8-9. The season he's referring to is when Lamar Jackson couldn't finish. The season he's referring to is when Baltimore's poor defense still ranked 19th.
I thought it was 18.
No, it was 19th. And by the way, that was their outlier year because the other years before and after that were either second in the lead or third. So you tell me, what is the poor defense that you're referring to? Because even in that same span of time, Atlanta's defense, their best year was 2019. They had 19th ranked defense. So literally, in the last 5 years, Baltimore's worst defense was Atlanta's best. So no, he didn't make enough clutch throws because they didn't have a winning record. Mind you, he didn't even finish the season. So yeah, thanks a lot for convincing me that, oh yeah, he's going to be playoff worthy when he's not even around for the playoffs. And when he is, the only team that he's beaten was one Tennessee team. The other ones, he looked absolutely terrible.
Shoot, if we're going to talk about clutching up, it beat a defense. He was the same. They were the same defense that held Josh Allen to the lowest amount of points last year at 17. The
Like, you want to
lowest
talk about
amount.
fixes defenses? How are you going to fix defenses when you put up Marcus Mariota numbers this year?
Hold on. Let me say this real quick, okay? In a playoff game, in a divisional playoff game, you scored 3 points.
Yeah, the last touchdown you threw was against Taron Johnson, who plays for the Bills.
3 points, okay? 2, ever since your MVP year, you only put up more than 20 touchdowns once. Okay. 3, the last 2 seasons, you barely finished you missed the last part of last year, just made it back for the playoffs just to get eliminated. And then you missed the last 7 games of this year. And you expect me to trade away Grady, AJ, and give you $40 to $45 million a year?
You're probably missing some draft picks in that as well.
And draft picks? Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. Because it's like, okay, even if we did sign you, people have been saying, okay, well, you have the weapons. You have Kyle Pitts. You have
Greg London. And our run game is going to be so fantastic. Guess where we are? We're right behind Baltimore in terms of our total rushing offense right now without him.
What's the point of going from 3 to 1? That's not a difference. I'd rather stay at 3 in rushing and go from 31st in passing to 10th at least. That's improvement. Going from 3 to 1 is like saying, well, I went from my career high in points from 56 to 58. Then what was the point? That's not doing any better. All you did was score 2, go up 2. What's the point?
I heard this joke from this one comedian. I can't remember his name, because it's like one of those things that you do where you just kind of scroll through stuff. But he mentioned how the difference between Fahrenheit and Celsius, it's like 69 to 71 degrees Fahrenheit is the same number in Celsius. It's 22 degrees. But people know they can feel the difference between 70 and 71 degrees. That's why we have those constant memes about people like getting all mad because you touched the thermostat. But you go to Celsius, it's the same number. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so we average like 160 yards per game. They literally average like 5 to 6 more yards than us. What is 5 to 6 more yards of a running game gonna do to help us go from 7-10 to a playoff team? I seriously want to know if there's anybody in this chat that has been aiding for Lamar Jackson to come here. Can you explain how going from third in the league in rushing to 2 is going to help us at all? And then trading away assets.
I think I saw Beasley talk about it earlier. Where's the comment there? Just kind of scroll up. Oh yeah, right here. This is what he said. It's like you can talk about a feeling. All we've done so far this entire stream was talk about feelings.
Shoot,
But
everybody had a feeling we was gonna get the show last year, and see how that happened. I mean, and people want to say, well, Detroit. I mean, Cleveland paid him $230 million guarantee, so there was no way he was gonna leave. We nearly paid him the same amount of thing, just not all guaranteed. He literally, I think someone said on Twitter a couple of days after that we were like 30 million behind him, but it was only like 180 million guaranteed. If he really wanted to come here that bad, $30 million that was actually all guaranteed was not going to change that.
yeah, it's like you picked your destination already. You already kind of knew. So anyone else have any other rumor that interests them? Because I already kind of stated my case about that. I think because there's one that I'll bring up, and it was from Warren Sapp.
Oh, please don't restate that. I've I'm gonna let you say it, but I just want to say I've never heard something more stupid in my life. And if the Bears actually do this, I will laugh in every Bears fan's face. But go on, Miss Noah.
So Chicago is reportedly, right? This is still rumors, right? It's still speculation, but this is why I'm saying, like, hey, what rumors interest you the most? This rumor interested me the most because the Bears are reportedly trying to say that, hey, I am willing to not only trade the first overall draft pick that we naturally got because we had Justin Fields a quarterback, but we will also let you have Justin Fields from us. You know, the touted quarterback that we were trying to praise in front of everyone. And I mean everyone.
And
So
not
yeah,
only
Justin Fields is literally on the trade block.
that, we don't
And the
have
first
any
overall
good
pick is on
weapons.
the trade block too.
Why? I just want to know if the Bears actually do this. What was the point of drafting
Here's the
Justin
thing.
in the first place?
Like, the only other team that you could try to entice in this deal is the team that sits at number 2. And even then, you could just get a quarterback in the draft.
At that point, you're just saying, okay, we'll trade you Justin Fields and Jalen Carter for C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud better be the best quarterback in that draft, and I mean by far the best. Or
He
Bryce
better
Young,
be the
whoever
best
won,
quarterback in Chicago Bears history.
because there's no way. And that fan base would be fired up because I don't think there's any way Eberflus and that GM make a bad year 4 if this doesn't work out. I don't even think this happens in the first place. But if they actually did this and it doesn't work out, there's no way Eberflus makes it past year 3 or 4, and there's no way that GM makes it past 5 years. There's just no way.
Just the thought that this is even out there, like the fact that this thought even exists,
It's sad.
like, yeah.
It's sad because it's like you seen what Justin Fields is last year. I mean, he looked like a complete running back last year, but he
At
looked
this
like he had
point,
potential.
yeah, but at this point, he's damaged goods.
Pretty much, he already hurt his shoulder. He had some knee issue last year. If I can, he injured himself last year, and he's still not a good passing quarter. I mean, of course you. I mean, well, let me. People said that Justin Fields didn't have weapons last year. I don't know what y'all say weapons is because Chase Claypool, Mooney, Komet, Montgomery, and Khalil Herbert sound like good weapons to me. And Dante Pettis kind of popped out as a good number 3. I don't know what y'all call it weapons. That's probably on coaching. I mean, the offensive line wasn't the greatest, but Jesus, at least they can buy him sometime. And then with his looseness, I mean, just saying. And
Yeah.
then,
Nathan Floyd says, "What would the trade even look like? Depression."
yeah, for both sides, because you're not. CJ Stroud already concerns me. People have been raving over that Georgia game. It's, he blew up Georgia, so of course he's got to be the next great thing. And I can bet $20 it's gonna blow up in somebody's face. Justin Fields just seemed like, okay, you're going from terrible to terrible. What's the improvement in that? Now, unless he goes to the Texans and D'Amico Ryan somehow makes him a good quarterback, which I don't see. But if he does, I guess that works. But I don't know. I don't see how or why this could work or happen.
Yeah. Tony Wright brings up a point about Denzel Mims. It says, Phillips, what are your thoughts on the Falcons waiting for the Jets release wide receiver Denzel Mims and signing him to be our number 2 receiver to complement on Kyle Pitts? My only concern is, why am I possibly picking up what the Jets don't want?
Yeah, I mean, of course you got Corey
Now,
Davis,
sure, he's got some talent to him, former 2019 second round draft pick. He's
wasted
caught in a
talent.
numbers game, right? Like, I can tell that there's only one football to go around. You got Garrett Wilson over there, you got Elijah Moore over there, but even he wasn't getting any targets.
Corey Davis too.
Corey Davis somehow exists. You have their plethora of running backs that they're going to try to bring back from injury. You have some ways you can go about this, and I think the most important thing is, like, hey, once you figure out the quarterback, then you can figure out, like, who the heck wants to stay here.
You still got the
But
tight end too, the former Cincinnati tight end.
yeah, and crap, crap, I'm blanking on his name. Why am I blanking on his name? I'm gonna get it. Crap.
I forgot it too. I just named him because I forgot he signed to the Jets last year.
Oh my god! I keep thinking of freaking Jermaine Gresham for some reason.
Why?
He's a Bengals tight end. He used to be. I'm glad I'm not thinking of Tyler Eifert, because that's not him.
No. Can someone in the chat help us? Because
oh my god. I gotta get it. I'm not looking at the chat. I gotta get it on my own. Oh my god, he played injured in the Super Bowl. What was his name?
Oh yeah, CJ Uzama.
Uzama.
Yeah, I knew his
no
last name
wonder why I
started with an
couldn't get
O.
that.
I knew his last name started with an O or U. It was between those two. Because I remember I was like, he had like a fractured leg or something in the Super Bowl, or something was wrong with his knee or something.
Yeah. Thank goodness it's not like a common name. Sometimes my memory banks just fail me, because I'll just remember just a bunch of random stuff. But then when it comes to, like, hey, on the spot, like, hey, who's this guy?
Yeah, that's me too. That I swear the only reason I named him because he was like, I remember he signed like a 2-3 year deal after signing after leaving the Bengals.
I also kept thinking of Jermaine Gresham because they kind of look similar to each other. They got like the same kind of skin complexion. They got the beard. They got the same kind of hairstyle.
They play similar too. Like they play very
Jeremy Ruckert
similar.
as well. Like, again, I could see this name that has nothing to do with anything we were talking about, and I can think, oh yeah, Ruckert, Jeremy. But that's also because I did a lot of scouting on tight ends last year. So
Did he do good last year? Because I barely paid attention. I mean, I paid attention to the Jets, but it was more on the defensive side.
not as much
Zach
as a
wasn't
guy
getting
like
best.
Jake Ferguson did for Dallas, but
already
Jets
scored.
also,
His dad went crazy. Like when he scored,
Jets got someone else too in the draft.
wasn't
They
it a
drafted
later
a tight
round?
end. It was kind of in the same area. I know it wasn't Trey McBride because he went to the Cardinals. Obviously Isaiah likely went to the Ravens.
Who was the top
remember
tight
that.
ends last year?
Well, I just named him. As far as the college prospects.
Who was that elusive tight end that was more like a pass catcher? He was in at Miami.
Oh, Johnny Woods. He went to the Colts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. But yeah, Mims doesn't interest me as much as any potential rookies, and I
I
don't
feel like
know
you get
what the heck
better.
you could be asking for.
I,
Um,
I feel like Terry is kind of done with signing and trading for guys like these little 25, 26-year-old guys that he thinks could be good number twos. I think they'll take it to the draft. Now, of course, you don't just want to save all your money and have like $56 million at draft time because then all the good guys are gone. But like, I think he's done kind of doing that Brian Edwards, Alden Tate experiment, kind of bringing in what the Jets and the other guys didn't want and trying to make them something good, and it doesn't work.
yeah, Tyler Conklin, he wasn't a rookie. I'm not.
I think he was like a third. I think he's like in his second or third
Oh
year.
my gosh. Yeah, Tyler Conklin. He's not the rookie that I'm thinking of that got drafted by the Jets. Unless you're talking about him, unless you're talking about Jeremy Ruckert, and I'm confusing him for somehow being drafted by the Bengals. I feel like because Jeremy Ruckert went to Ohio State, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Uh, I'm completely misremembering that thing because we were talking about Bengals, Jets, that sort of thing. All right. Okay, my brain can finally rest on that. Whew. All right. Well, that's gonna be doing it for us. That was everything. I'm gonna try to catch up to everyone else. Um, I know that there was someone else that wanted to ask me some questions about my edge rushing opinions. From Murr. I don't have that yet. Um, I just haven't had the time to genuinely look at everything myself. So hopefully, the next time that we have a stream, I'll have more knowledge on kind of each member of the defensive class, and then thoughts on my new DC. There's such thing as a rewind button. So one last comment from Tony Wright. Also, since we have the second most money to spend in free agency, hopefully we can sign Deron Payne. If not, we can sign him. Those are your thoughts on using Sheldon Rankins. Sheldon
I
Rankins,
wouldn't be
he
mad at
also,
it.
he's also from New Orleans too.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, he's a pretty good pass rusher too. Um, he's kind of like that all around. He's not like a top tier guy, but he can do both. Like he can pass rush and run defend at the same time, and his motor's high, so I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, and then with Yannick, because I know I've seen his name a couple times in here.
Yeah,
It's kind of like what we were saying with the whole Ogundeji thing, right? It's like you don't want too many the same player, and I feel like Yannick is more of
a
an
pass
Arnold
rusher.
Abakiri clone than he is an Ogundeji clone, which I'd like to have him kind of symmetrical.
I think if you sign Yannick, you don't sign Davenport, or you don't re-sign Lorenzo.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, if you're gonna do that, either you didn't re-sign Lorenzo, or you didn't get to Davenport in time.
and you would definitely give up on any chances of D'Angelo Malone having a major impact in terms of playing time.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us. Can you expect us to do another stream? Well, I don't really know, but this would be the kind of time range in which we would go about it for the off season, Saturdays, afternoon, evening ish. And it seems to be a decent crowd here in comparison to what we've received in the past. By the way, if you are watching this from the Georgia Sports Nation channels, just know that, hey, I'm doing this to kind of scope out any other people that just don't know about my own channel, because I would prefer to have my own channel, and then that way you can find it easier if you ever want to go back on these conversations. That way it's not going to get lost in everyone else that constantly uploads, but then I just kind of drop in here and be like, hey, just a one-off. But yeah, it's just kind of letting you know. I should have put a link to my own channel, but I mean, that's right there. Like, that's all you got to type in the YouTube search chat. So, and you can find it. You can find the logo, which will just be this. So, again, if you enjoyed our conversation, if you want more exposure to what we do, especially if you want our idea of the whole like Royal Rumble elimination, kind of putting one prospect up against another thing that we're doing, I'm gonna do that. Me and Trey, hopefully some other people are gonna join us in on that, and that's gonna be on my channel. So that's what I'm kind of like, come on. So that's the plan moving forward. There's going to be some other ideas that I got in the works as well. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I got a free giant green screen, and I don't know what to do with it yet, especially at least not without getting a good camera. So there's going to be some ideas for some elaborate video essays. Yay. Yeah, I'm kind of completely changing up my content ideas. There might be some other gaming stuff if I can get to it, but that's the plan moving forward. If you guys want to be a part of that, let me know by subscribing. So thank you guys for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your nights or whenever you decide to listen. Trey, any final thoughts?
No, really. I think I stated all mine. Be back soon. Hopefully, try to get something done next weekend. Maybe a little. Well, cause dang, I forgot. After this, there's no football for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a Super Bowl preview, but we might do that Saturday before. Whatever fits us best, we'll figure out. But yeah.
Maybe I will have less hair.
Don't
Maybe I'll have more. I don't know.
cut the sides if you do get a haircut.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. It's like I said, it's equal length all around. It's really annoying. So, anyways, catch you guys later.
All right, man.